Fasten your crash helmets, class. Today we wrestle with moral philosophies. Genius and stupidity, virtue and vice, all swirling in the chaotic dance of when it suits. Welcome to the moral shit show, where contradictions reign, and the punchline is the existential migraine that comes with self-awareness. Utilitarianism. The sacrifice for the greater good. Oh, utilitarianism, you scamp. The so-called moral high ground where sacrificing a few is a small price to pay for the illusion of a greater good. It's like saying, sure, we are burning down your house, but think of the lovely neighborhood barbecue we'll have afterward. You should join us. Remember the good old Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings? Yes, the epitome of utilitarian brilliance. Let's nuke a couple of cities to save lives. Who needs subtlety when you can unleash the power of the atom? Am I right? Relativism. Cultural morality versus convenient excuse. The sweet symphony of cultural relativism, where anything goes because, hey, who are we to judge? Sure, let them stone people for falling in love. It's just their way of expressing affection. Cultural norms, they say. Honor killings, where you murder your own family member to preserve the family name. How quaint, how relatively romantic. Relativism turns that into a cultural quirk instead of the abhorrent crime it would otherwise be. Deontology, the golden rule versus convenient blindness. The golden rule, a quaint little notion until life throws a curveball, and suddenly, it's not about treating others well, it's about saving your own skin. Sure, I believe in the golden rule, but let's put that on hold when my survival is at stake. Self-interest dressed up as moral duty, how utterly charming. And duty? Don't get me started. Oh, I have a duty to uphold justice, but let me turn a blind eye when it's politically inconvenient. Duty selectively applied, the hallmark of deontological gymnastics, where principles bend like a pretzel when it suits the narrative. Ethical egotism, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Ethical egoism, the art of dressing up selfishness in the tattered rags of personal integrity. I do what's best for me, and fuck everyone else. How splendidly heartwarming. Ethical egoists, the real heroes in their own stories. Sure, I'll trample over anyone who stands in my way, but hey, it's all in the name of personal well-being. The ultimate self-love, where empathy is in a coma and the golden rule becomes a rusty relic. Cheers to personal integrity twisted into a self-serving justification for a world where everyone else is just collateral damage in the pursuit of what's best for me. Golden mean, moderation versus moral cop-out. Aristotle's golden mean suggests moderation in all things. Sounds reasonable, but is it an excuse for mediocrity? The golden mean, or as I like to call it, the golden cop-out. Don't be too virtuous, but also don't be too vicem. Just be kinder, okay? It's the philosophy of settling for the middle, as if life's moral choices are a choose-your-own-adventure book with only one option, the safe, vanilla path. Because who needs the thrill of moral challenges when you can bask in the glow of tepid virtue? Contractarianism, social contracts versus convenient agreements. Social contracts, the ultimate game of pretend. Sure, I'll follow these rules as long as they serve my interests. The moment they cramp my style, all bets are off. It's like a binding agreement written in disappearing ink. Mutual benefit, they claim. Until, of course, the benefits aren't quite mutual anymore. Oh, you expected me to uphold my end of the bargain even when it's inconvenient for me? How adorable. Social contracts, the adult version of promising to share your toys but never actually intending to do so. Virtue ethics, the moral gymnastics of virtue. Strive for moral excellence, they say, as if it's a walk in the park instead of a dizzying performance of acrobatics. Sure, I'll be courageous, just not when it means risking my neck. It's the philosophy that encourages us to be morally virtuous until it gets a bit too inconvenient. What's virtuous for one person might be considered vice for another. You call it recklessness, I call it embracing the spontaneity of life. Virtue ethics, where the moral compass has more needles than a damned porcupine. Divine command theory, when God's will becomes convenient. Religious mandates claim a divine source for morality. But what happens when interpretations clash, and God's will conveniently aligns with our desires? Oh, it's not me saying this, it's God, they proclaim, as if divine endorsement makes every action righteous. It's the perfect tool for justifying the unjustifiable, because who dares question the Almighty? Interpretations clash, and suddenly, everyone's got a direct line to the divine. It's like a celestial game of telephone where morality is lost in translation. and the entity responsible for the mandates is conveniently unavailable for questioning. Deus Vult, anyone? That's enough crash helmet discourse for one day, class. Remember, morality. Navigating the minefield where, when it suits, becomes a solo dance, but, when it's expected, is the reluctant group performance. Welcome to the ethics circus. Mind the explosions. Don't forget to hit subscribe, or don't, I'm not your therapist. Join me next time for another exciting episode of I Put the One In, Good for Everyone.